Hello, everybody. My name's Laura Belmain. I'm going to be your coach and guide for all things application security that you and your team can get done in just 1 hour per sprint. So today we're doing a bit of a watch along. So if you've seen one of these before from us, the idea is we're going to go through one of the activities that we have explained to you in Sprint 5, which is reviewing a third-party library for its security. And I'm going to do it live. So now I'm a Python developer. So all of you folks who do other languages, that's fine. Don't worry too much about the language of the library that I'm looking at. That's just my space. You will do a similar thing for whatever library or framework you're looking at. The library I'm going to look at today is Spacey. Now, I am a bit of a natural language processing nerd. I did AI before AI was a job, which was bad planning. And I want to choose a library that's going to help me do some keyword analysis and natural language processing of a lot of text that I have. So I create a lot of videos. Those videos need to be turned into transcripts and they need to be keyword processed. So this is a good fit for that. Now, if you have looked at the resources available to you in this sprint, we have provided you this checklist. So it's all ready to go, PDF format. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through this process with this checklist, and we're going to see, would I decide to use Spacey? Okay, so I've got the checklist open, I've got Spacey's website open, I've also opened up in another tab Spacey's GitHub page because, we're probably going to spend a lot of time there. So those first questions, let's have a look at that. What are we looking at? Popularity and reputation. Check for the popularity and the general reputation and take a look at the feedback and ratings. Cool, awesome, we can do this. So where do we find this in GitLab? Well, as you will know, there's lots of different ways we can judge the popularity of something. So let's have a look. There's 558 people watching it. 27,000 people have started. Okay, that's a pretty good sign. What else can we do? Well, we can have a look at who it's used by. That's a good idea. But I kind of like, to be honest, to look at the discussions and see what's going on there. So I think this is pretty popular. It seems to be one of the more popular ones. If I look at their own website, it definitely seems to have a more professional feel than some of the other open source libraries that I've done. Now, I'm a sucker for a good website and good documentation. So let's assume we've passed that one. So what's next? License and compliance. All right. Now, I know licenses aren't the most fun in the world, but they really do make a big difference, especially if your project is commercial. So let's have a look. We've got a license here. All right, so we're under the MIT license. Now, GitHub makes it super easy for us to understand. So I can use it for commercial use. Wicked. I can modify it, I can distribute it, I can use it for private use. No liability, no warranty, that's cool. I'm going to do funny things with it anyway. And I need to include the license and copyright notice. That's not a problem because I don't like messing around with any of the files I inherit because I don't need to look after somebody else's code as well. Great, awesome. So check, job done. License and compliance is good. Documentation and support is next. So whether you are going to read it all or not, whether you're the type of person who just plays and experiments, documentation can be really, really helpful, especially if you're working on a team and you need to share the responsibility. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at the usage documentation first. Cool. All right. We can even look at the old docs, but we're not going to. We'll look at these new ones because they've put some effort in here. All right, so we've got linguistic features, we've got guides. Let's have a look at an example of one of these training models. All right, okay, so, oh nice, so not only is this pretty good documentation, but they've actually called out the keywords in a little appendix at the side. That's kind of helpful, I like that. Quick start guides, nice. Oh, ha, ha, ha. And this is lovely, so it can actually help you out with some quick start config. That's nice. All right, yeah, I'm going to give that a big tick. Not all libraries and frameworks are going to have that. Okay, so documentation, security guidance. Oh yeah, I should probably check that. Hey, let's have a look. Now, in most cases, you might find that actually security guidance isn't something that is naturally featured in the documentation. So let's just see what happens when we search for security. That tends to be a good thing. All right, so they are addressing security vulnerabilities. It's here in their change log. It doesn't seem to be that something that they've specifically documented, but I like that they are actually fixing the issues. Support forums and communication channels. Let's have a look at that. What's that do? Oh, that's integrations and things. No, that's not what we're looking for. Let's have a look for some community. I think that's probably going to be in GitHub. So let's have a look in discussions. Is anyone in here? Oh, yes. Hello. Okay, so you see this is actually very active. All right, what we got? So we've got, oh, the latest one is 4 hours ago. Wonderful. Okay. Oh, nice. So there's a discussion, how to reduce things. Okay. Cool. So this actually looks really helpful. So it's well categorized. It's been answered by a contributor. Um, I'm actually really impressed with this. This is actually pretty well done. So we can have a look. Model advice. I wonder if we do security in here, what do we find? Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. All right. So as you can see, what we have here is a really active community. Oh, there we go, look, there's all sorts of bits and pieces been going on for security. Is it their primary focus? No, but you wouldn't expect it to be, so that's okay. All right, so up to page 2. Code quality and maintainability. Now, this one is going to irk some of you, I know this, because we have enough code to review already. I'm asking you now to go and look at somebody else's code, and it's code that you can't actually, address in any way. So let's have a look. Now, there's a lot of code here, so what you're probably going to want to do is spend a bit of time on this, because this is not a small framework. This is actually a huge framework. But we can have a look. You can jot around whatever you're particularly interested in. What we're looking for is this making sense? Is it actually in a way that's clean? You could find the bits that you want. We've got some commenting in here. Now, ideally, if this was your code, you'd review every line, but we just don't have the time. So pick the bits that really matter to you and move on. So let's have a look in the maintainability. Secure coding practices and principles. It's not really that sort of library or framework. We have had a little look around. Is it actively maintained? Absolutely, seems very active. Frequency of updates and security patches being promptly released. Let's have a look at their updates. Have a look at the pull request first and just see what's in there. Oh, I've got lots of labels. What labels have we got? Have we got some security? I reckon we probably do, but let's have a look. Oh, no security label, actually. Kind of surprised. All right. Does it matter? I don't know. You would have to decide for your project. I would say that in this case, they're probably putting security issues in with bugs. So, all right, let's have a look at what we've got here. Okay, so these are all of the pull requests that are in and going through. I see there's lots of comments, lots of pull requests. Now, there isn't a lot happening every day, so you see that we've got pretty much monthly things going on. But that's okay, because remember, this is an open source project, so it's unlikely that we're going to get a lot of very, very frequent requests. Okay, so in terms of releases, we've got a pretty fairly frequent release schedule going on here. It really does depend on the number of hours and things that they've put in the month, but as you see, there's lots of things being updated. Let's have a look at the releases. That will give us that firm idea. All right, let's have a look. So latest release was 2 days ago. What do we got? Oh, look, the release notes are actually really good. I'm kind of pleased with that. 8th of August, July. Yeah, so we're looking at about a monthly release schedule here, and we're seeing really good documentation, so I'm really satisfied with that. Okay, known vulnerabilities. Okay, so this is the part where we need to go and look somewhere else, somewhere like CVE details. Okay, let's put a spacey in here. Now, CVE details is really irritating. they don't actually have a great search, and a lot of this is ads. We don't really want that. So we'll give it one more go. Well, there's nothing listed on CVE details. That's a good sign. Let's see. NIST spacey vulnerabilities. Okay. Oh, all right. Let's have a look. Oh, look. So we have some vulnerabilities that SNCC is aware of from. Oh, this is a JavaScript API for this. So no, I'm not concerned. I don't think this is particularly problematic in this case. Okay. Dependency management and conflicts. Oh, right. Okay. So this is going to be a pain. But we have to do it right, because if you remember that the whole point of supply chain security is that the code that you inherit from other people can give you vulnerabilities. Well, by kind of proxy of that, then we also inherit all of the dependencies of other components that our libraries bring with us. And so it's really, really important, therefore, that we understand what dependencies come in from this. Now, in this case, I actually think that this, because it's quite a complete library, it's not calling into too many other things. Now, when you look at other libraries and frameworks in different languages, though, you might see different things. So in the Node ecosystem, in NPM, for example, the frameworks are very small, so they tend to have a high number of dependencies. The bigger the base framework is, the more of the stuff is actually catered for themselves. So you're going to need to take some time and dig into that. It's probably a little bit big for this video today. Testing and validation. Does it have tests? Do they run? Let's have a look. I think we do. I think I saw those very, very briefly on. Oh, there we go. Look, there we go. Spacey tests. Oh, yeah, there's an entire test suite here. Oh, and it's documented. So let's have a look at this. It's using PyTest. So for Python, that's very standard. We can run those tests. Do's and don'ts. Nice. Okay, cool. We would need to, of course, run this to make sure, like reading the documentation is one thing, running it is something else. Check how the data is validated, stored, and transmitted. In this case, the data is staying all inside the framework. We're not actually sending it out, so I'm not going to worry too much about this one. And functionality and performance. Well, this is where doing a static review isn't going to help you. This is where you really do need to get stuck in. So when you're looking at your library or framework at this point, you're going to really be pulling it down and doing some bits of experimentation and testing. That's the only way to know. Now, I'm quite comforted that this one isn't bloated. It really is doing one thing very, very well, and that's its place in the universe, if you will. It's trying to be one thing that is very, very specifically doing its job. So I think I'm pretty happy. So overall, did Spacey pass my secure development check for a third-party library? I think it did. But would all things pass? Probably not, because this is a particularly well-documented one. So whatever library or framework you choose next, why don't you run through our framework and see how you get on? And perhaps you might learn something about the libraries you're using and find ways to keep your code a little bit more secure.